When you start living with the end in mind, everything starts to change. What are people going to say about you? What message is your life going to speak when you're long gone? Because you weren't born by accident. You didn't just happen to be where you're at and happen to watch this video. There is always a reason.
So we're just going to go straight into it. So I just want to welcome you guys to our Fuse Life podcast, episode number 26. We've been going hard, and as you know, Fuse Life, we're all about God-given assignment. Find your purpose, find what God has for you, and walk in it unashamedly. And so tonight, my guest, Ricky Paul, is doing that. He's got an amazing story, and I actually don't know the full story, so I'm excited to explore this with you guys. So, Ricky, I just want to welcome you. Thank you so much for being on here with us, bro.
Yeah, it's an honor, bro. It's an honor, for sure.
Awesome. Man, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, like your childhood, things you've been through, and how you ended up here?
So my childhood, I was brought up in a place called Kawerau in the Bay of Plenty, New Zealand. And to be honest, we were quite well off for our community. My father worked very hard, an amazing provider. I love that guy. And so it's always good to love your parents. But yeah, just, my father, we lived very well. Financially secure at that, had a good upbringing until I was probably about 8, and my mother had cancer, and she got bowel cancer, and everything just dropped. Everything changed. It was just a game changer. And
sorry to interrupt, bro. Can I just get you to just hold that out a little bit, just because your mic's rubbing against your hoodie, just on that side?
Oh,
yeah, there you go. Yeah, there. Awesome. Boom, legit. Yeah.
Did it freeze or anything, or it's
no, we're good. We're good. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So we lived well up until my mother had cancer, and I knew she was a drunkard from my childhood memory. And so, which I found out later, that was just her way of coping with the cancer. And so she fought that for about 1.5 years, passed away. And of course, that just tore us apart, man, including my father. So my father couldn't cope as well. And he quit his job, and we just literally went from an amazing family to this dysfunctional family. And so he found a woman within a day. Which was, again, just cool for him, but in him I guess wanting his needs met unintentionally, because my father's a loving father, we were sort of pushed to the side, or that's how we perceived it as kids. And so a couple of my sisters left home and did that, and then I ran away at about 12 from them. Went to an uncle, and I called my uncle Dad as well, and went straight from into a druggie house.
Wow.
So I went out there, and I'd help the uncle grow weed, do all that stuff, plant them, hike all the kinna juice up the hills.
Wow.
Yeah, did all that. And I was fairly well behaved. And amongst that as well, I had moments where, in looking for a father's heart, I had a broken representation of that, I guess. And so, I was, long story short, I was sexually abused as a teenager from a guy for over a certain amount of time. But I just did everything. Of course, like, you're confused because as a kid, or a teenager, or just even as a human, there's that need for a father heart, but then it's confusing because you don't think it's right, but it feels right. But then again, you've never been exposed to a healthy father heart, so you don't know what's right. And so pushed on through all of that, and from then amongst all, losing my mum, family just deteriorating, my confidence was shattered. I was never able to talk to people properly. Had a stutter, trip over my words. I was called dumb dumb, like everything, bro. And yeah, but I did the best that I could with what I had, and it wasn't. I just loved music. Music was my getaway. So even when that's where all that come in, when all the fighting would go on every night, most nights, when there'd be drinking in the house, a lot of violence, domestic, verbal, physical, all of that. And so I'd always cry and just put my headphones on and just try and drown out the noise,
Wow.
Just try and drown out that noise, and was my go-to. And so I just started making beats, long story short, started getting good at it. And and when I just come out of high school, I was a rapper at first. And so I was on national TV for rapping and stuff.
Legit.
On an old show, yeah. And so I started doing that until, again, I don't know our viewers, where they're at with rap knowledge, but there's a guy called Eminem, and he dropped a movie around rapping, and so once that movie came out, everyone was a rapper. So every kid became one, wanted to be one, and so I got depressed because my identity was in that, and so I got sad at such a real young age on top of everything else. And my mate just said, "Hey, why don't you make the music?" And so I was like, no, like my passion is rapping and stuff. And they're like, no, you should totally do the music, man. And so I just started on a PlayStation, making music like Ninja Mystic. And just started making music, and doors just started to open. It's an amazing story, actually, with a friend of mine. And so I just jumped in on his favor because he became a renowned artist. And so he just started painting canvases for famous international rappers and artists that people just love and adore, So
do we know this guy?
His name's Owen Dippy. So he lives in, he does a lot of murals in and around Auckland, and all over the world. Wow. And so, so he started meeting all the famous rappers, and he's just like, bro, I'll take you with me. I'm allowed to take one extra person. So
legit.
So I got to meet a 90s group called Cypress Hill, I think was my first band. So I got to chill with them and partake in illegal substances.
How old are you? How old are you at this stage?
I'm about 17, I think.
Dang,
17, 18, yeah. And so like people would just buzz out that we were allowed to chill with those guys, and and so I'd get to show them my beats. And my mate just said, because again I had no self-esteem, I thought my beats were dumb, and he was just like, bro, you got to show them your music. And I was like, bro, they have the best dudes in the game, like they have guys like Dr. Dre and Timbaland and all these guys who make all the beats, Alchemist. So they wouldn't want a young guy from Coldo, bro, like, doing them off a PlayStation. So he just encouraged me, and he said, well, bro, you've got nothing to lose. And the worst thing they can say to you is, that's whack. But I didn't like that. I didn't want people to say that to me. And so I already thought that of myself. And so I didn't need people to remind me at the time. And so, but yeah, he just said, just take a risk. And I showed their DJ, their beat maker at that time, and he said, this is good stuff, bro. You got potential.
Legit.
And so he's one of my idols. And so at the time, and I just looked up to him. I just took it and ran with it. And as soon as he sort of gave me his stamp of approval, he was stoned, so that made me second guess. Like, oh shucks, I wonder if that's just the weed talk, So, again, to the viewers, if there are any, I wasn't a Christian then, So,
No, bro, there's heaps of people that are like Cypress Hill. I remember Cypress Hill, and someone saying Eminem was my favorite rapper. and just saying that's epic. I love your strength and vulnerability. So cool about the beach. There's a whole bunch of people just commenting, bro. So it's legit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah. So I just did that, and long story short is that through that I started developing some friendships via email with some of them, and then I got to meet all these other dudes, Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, and all these the 90s,
Wow.
2000s, as they call them, the golden era,
Mm-mm.
and so I started getting emails of the managers and sending beats to them, and that sort of took over for a few years. And then I started getting interested in New Zealand with certain artists and producing for them, and started getting big, started getting a name, and then God intervened. So that's the best way I can put it. And so
Yeah.
yeah, that's where my salvation comes around. It was around that
Yeah.
time when everything was just about to blow up.
Yeah. But maybe we
Yeah.
can quickly tell people, like, if you were to describe Kawera, how would you describe it?
So it has two perceptions. The public perception, at the time, and I know a lot of people always say they had the highest statistics, but we actually got to see the stats, and so at that time, had highest teen pregnancy. Shucks, mad as drug bust. Highest suicide rate there for a while, went rampant. But all that aside, that's the common thing you hear about Kodo, but I was brought up there, and that's home. So that's all I knew.
Yeah.
I love the people.
But I just mean
it's
geographically, like, how many people would live in Kawera?
6,500, 7,000. Yeah, probably less when I was there.
And that's in the North Island, right? Like central? No?
Yeah, bro.
I actually don't know where it is.
Yeah. Like a lot of people don't know where it is. So it's close to, basically between Whakatane and Rotorua.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's known for, other than those, in the Great Things revival, but we've had amazing things. We've, New Zealand's top model will come out of Kodo.
Right.
Our BMX champ Sarah Walker's from Kodo. Yeah, Dippy, top world class artist is from Kodo. Ricky Paul's from Kodo.
Yeah. No, but really, like, it says a lot about your town.
Yeah, like it really. You either you make it or you just you join the mold. It's only those two options, really.
There's no middle ground.
No, there's no middle ground for sure. Yeah,
man. Okay, so you somehow make it through the craziness of your childhood, teenage years. You're gonna blow up big, and what happened?
Oh, so during that, I was working at a kiwi fruit orchard, and because again in its booming days, they had the mill around, and shucks, that town was thriving, and but all the workers started getting laid off, and overseas investors came in and scooped it up, and machines started replacing all the people, and so jobs started declining massively. Then all that stuff happened. So other than that, there's really only the forestry, kiwi fruit picking, drugs, unless you're a teacher or social worker or some sort, someone in the community. And so, basically I was doing kiwi fruit, and just randomly on a smoko break, I wasn't brought up, so my family are tied into the Ratana church, but we weren't actively going, and nor did my parents or my mum, especially whose family is in the Ratana church. She didn't preach nothing to me, so I didn't hear the gospel at all. And so one random day I was at work, and I just got sick of it, bro. And I just was picking this last bit of fruit, and I just thought to myself, man, God, if you are real, and if you have what I guess is a plan for my life, other than me, just picking kiwi fruit,
Yeah.
I would love for you to, show this plan. That's all I knew. That's all I asked, and I left it at that. And let's say that was about a Wednesday or Thursday, so about early week. And a friend of mine comes up to me in town, and he used to be a bit of a rough dude, bro. He used to pick on all my mates and stuff.
Yeah.
Was the school bully, and his name was Buck. Philip Tioki. So everyone called over him, bro. So, yeah. Good friend of mine. And so he come up to me, and I thought, dang, the dude's gonna smack me up. And so he come up to me and goes, bro, what are you up to this weekend? And I was like, oh, nothing, bro, nothing. What was that? And I thought he was gonna recruit me, it's a prospect. And so he goes, bro, come to church. And I was like, hey, you go to church? And he goes, yeah, bro, yeah, I've been going hardcore and all stuff. And he started building his reputation as a youth worker in the community. But I didn't know. And so I was like, oh. And he goes, bro, why don't we pick you up for pizza? And so for real, I asked him, I said, oh, are Christians allowed to go get pizza, bro? And I meant it, because I thought that Christians were just hallelujah, clap in church, weren't allowed to do nothing. They don't drink, they don't swear, they don't party, they don't have sex out of marriage, all these things. I'm thinking, what do they do? So I just thought, shucks, are they allowed to have pizza, bro? And he just cracked up and he goes, course. Me and my mate Dallas, who was another guy I knew, will come pick you up on Friday. And so long story short is they pick me up. We have an awesome night, have a lot of crack up things going on. At the same time that's going down, actually, I get offered, shucks, how much was it? $800,000 because of the music thing starting to take off. So that's going off at the same time. And so that dude met me, and for real, bro, he flew in from the UK, jumped on a helicopter, flew to Whakatane while we're out at Pizza Hut, and he came in a suit, full blown Pākehā dude in a suit, briefcase, pulled out the contract, had it all for me, and he just said, just sign away, young man. If you do that, all your dreams are going to come true.
$800K.
$800,000.
Dang.
To a 17-year-old, bro. And he just said, that's only for 6 months work. So I'll fly you to Japan. Who this guy was later on in Indonesian Mystics video clip, and he said, all I want you to do is make all the beats for this guy's album, and you're done. We'll pay for all your studio time, give you this lump sum of cash, fly you there, have all the food, you'll have the girls, you have the cars, you have everything you ever wanted. And I was like, dang, this is crazy. So that happens. I have the pizza. My mates are there witnessing that. And we go home, I'm fresh out, I was still in gumboots, so, and from kiwi fruit. And so I go back, and my mate says, they drop me off there to say, bro, why don't you come to church? This Sunday we'll pick you up. And I was thinking, dang, I don't know, I'm just going to plan and see what I'm going to do with my money, I'm about to sign this thing. So the guy said, I'll give you till Monday. So I was like, cool. So I try to get a hold of my auntie, who's a lawyer. She can give me some legal advice if it's good for me and all that. Couldn't get a hold of her. So I said, yeah, bro, I'll totally do church. So go to church. And I said, before I went into church, God, if I feel your love in this place, I'll commit to the church. It's a random feeling. So I go into the church, and he's definitely a father, a massive father in my life. His name's Martai Bennett. And so was the pastor, so he gave me a hug and said, welcome to church, young man, all that stuff. So I go in there. It's a normal service, to be honest. Actually, it wasn't, because I got saved. And so I go in there. Basically, he does the altar call, that's all I remember. Doing the altar call, and people are starting to fall over. And so I'm thinking, yeah, I have no grid for this. I've never been in the church. So I'm thinking, why is he pushing the people over? You know, like, so thinking, hey, why is he pushing them over? It's freaking out and everything. So they're falling over. And as it's happening, my phone goes off and I go outside, the old school flip tops. So I flip open my phone. It's my sister and she's bawling her eyes out. She says, Rick, it's Tracy, who's my sister that's just younger than me. And she's crying. And I said, what's happening? She goes, brother, she's going to die. And so I was like, hey, for real? You're not playing? She goes, nah, brother, she had a car accident up in Auckland. She flew off a cliff, flew out the windscreen because she was asleep and went off the cliff, hit the ground, but then the car landed on her. And, yeah, so she said, brother, she's probably going to die by the time we even get there. And so I freak out. I just shut down. I start panicking. I'm crying. I'm confused. I close my phone. I go back inside, and the pastor's saying, I feel that there's still one more person out there that needs God. And you've got something on your shoulder, you know, that weight on your shoulder. And so I'm thinking, shucks, that's me. And so he goes, I'd love for you to come forward. So I go forward, and there's still about 2 rows of people left. And he starts praying for those 2 rows. First row starts falling over. And so I'm bracing myself, you know. I'm going this because I don't want to be pushed over, you know, like
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, so I'm bracing myself, you know, to push back or something. And so, so they start falling over. He gets to the other end of my row, and they start falling over as well. And so he's about 3 or 4 people around, a third person away from me. And as he gets there, my past haunts me out of nowhere. So the feeling of a guy laying his hand on me, just my heart goes, or the walls go up. And I start freaking out, the feeling like, hey, God, I don't want him to put his hand on me. And I said, I think what he's doing is of you, but I don't want him to put his hand on me. So under my breath, I just quickly say, God, if you're real, can you stop him from putting his hands on me? Just because I'm scared. And so he gets to the next person and he stops and he goes, hey guys, he's on the mic. I'm just letting you guys know I felt the Holy Spirit say to not lay hands on you. And so he said, you know, I can't explain. That's all I feel. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, man, God must be real. Like, my prayer, like he stopped. And so he just says, and for you guys who are left standing or still there needing prayer, he just says, just talk to God yourself. You know, whatever's on your heart, give it to God. And something I've never talked to God. And so the worship music's playing, I'm crying. I don't know what to say. All I thought or what I may have heard was, you know, if you don't know Jesus, you go to hell. And so I started crying for my mum because I started thinking, God, I don't even know if my mum knew you. So I started bawling my eyes out. And after that, I said, but God, my sister's about to go there. You know, that's all I knew of Jesus. And so I said, I don't want her to go there. And so I started bawling and I said, I made a covenant with God and I said, God, if you, the crazy thing, bro, like I said, I had no Bible knowledge. I said, God, if you raise my sister off her deathbed the same way you did Jesus, I swear I'll give you my life to the best of my ability. And I felt for the first time in years, peace come on me. But it was so weird, and so I'm starting to think, hey, what's this feeling? So I go, at the end of the service, I start asking people in the church, hey, like, can you feel that funny feeling? That's why I call it the funny feeling, because it was so foreign to me, peace. And so they're looking at me like, oh, no. so I go to, you know, the next Christian, hey, can you feel that funny feeling? What's that funny feeling? And no one at the time was able to say, oh, it's the presence of God, you know, as she tell me. So anyway, that happens. My sister miraculously, bro, she was munted, bro. Broke every bone in her body, was unrecognizable, had tubes, metal pipes all down her, through her, and on life support and stuff. And they were just about to pull her life support. And she miraculously sat up and looked at the nurse and said, get my brother Ricky here. So I didn't know this happened. I'm still in church. And then she goes back into a coma, or relying on the machine. And So she goes out there and says to my dad, "Hey, have you got a son called Ricky, or does the name Ricky mean anything?" She's busting like a word of knowledge on him. My dad's like, "Oh, that's my son." Like, how do you know that? And so, it's not a word of knowledge. So, so my dad's freaking out, and she said, "Oh, because your daughter just asked for him." And so my dad phones me, your sister's asking for you. Something. Oh, cool. She's fine. I'll just go back to work. And he goes, no, she's gone back into a coma. Like, they can't explain what happened. She's just gone back into a coma. And so, long story short, is my mates tricked me to going up. They actually kidnapped me because that funny feeling, which was the peace of God, was on me that much that even if a nurse said your sister's dead, I knew they were lying. Like, so I had that much peace. That I was going to go to work, and everyone thought I was crazy, bro. I was literally about to go to work, and I was just telling people, no, she's all good, she's all good, and they're like, bro, she's still dying, but I just knew she was okay. So they kidnapped me. Basically, I go up there. They say, hey, let's go get pizza in Rotorua, and so we go get pizza. On our way there, we carry on through something, bro. Rotorua's back there. Where we going? So I'm taking you to see your sister, bro. So we get there. It's about 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I go up in Auckland ICU, walk in. My dad says, go say your goodbyes, boy, before we pull the plug and all that. And so I walk in, and they just leave me in there. So they, pull the curtains across, and it's all dark. It's just her, the lights on her. She doesn't even look like my sister. And so I'm thinking, what do I do? And I hear the external audible voice of God say her name. So I start looking around, and I'm thinking, hey, who's talking? So I start pulling the curtains open, and looking around, and no one's there. So I'm thinking, hey, I know that I heard someone say that. So I close the curtains, and I'm thinking, I'm probably tired, but I knew that I heard someone, bro. So I stand there. The second time I hear his voice, he says, say her name. So again, I just start opening the curtains, no one's there. Everything's dark. It's only the two nurses monitoring everyone in this room about 10, 20 meters away, or 10 meters away or so, with their light on. And I'm thinking, there's no one here. And so I close half the curtain. so I leave it half open, And so I'm standing there, and I'm just brushing it off. Okay, there wasn't no one. It's all good. Nothing's happening. And then I hear a third time, louder. God says, say her name. And so I'm like, hey, this is crazy. And half the curtain's open. No one's there. I pull that side across. No one's there. And for some odd reason, I just thought, cool. I've got nothing to lose. I'll just say her name. I had no reference for that. Didn't even know what they meant to say her name. So I just go up to her and I whisper in her ear, and her name's Tracy, and I just go, Tracy. And for real, bro, like, she just opens her eyes. She just goes, whoa. She just sits up. She starts pulling all, the tubes and the needles and stuff, bro. And she starts she gets off her deathbed. She just starts walking off, bro. And so I start yelling, and I'm like, nurse! Nurse! So I'm freaking out because I don't know if this is a game. I don't know if... I couldn't explain, but I just started freaking out because I'm thinking, I've never seen this stuff before. Like, what's going on here? So I'm calling out to them, nurse, nurse, nurse. So the lady comes up and she starts yelling at me. She's like, lower your tone, lower your voice. You shouldn't be yelling in here. And I said, is she meant to be doing that? So my sister's walking off, bro. And so the nurse looks at me and she goes, what did you do to her? So her and her are having this argument. So I'm like, I just said her name. Like, that's all I did. I just said what you said. I just said her name. And so she's going, what did you do? And I said, I just said her name. So I start yelling, bro. And so I start running out. I run past my sister. I didn't say hello or nothing. She's just gradually walking out. And so I run past my dad. And so my dad thinks, this is overwhelming for me, which it was anyway. So he's got his arms wide open, ready to embrace me, and I run straight past him, bro. And so he's like, boy, where are you going? I said, Dad, all I did was say her name. It's I'm crying, confused, and so. And
Dang.
and the crazy thing is, and it's 2004. The crazy thing is, I get because the marae, her kapahaka group, for those who don't know, is their indigenous cultural performance group. We're getting ready for her funeral, and they had the marae book from memory, the komatos and everything. We're waiting for her body to come home. Except she pulls up, bro, and she's all good. So it's so that was my first. It's how I came to God, but there's another half to that, where the next weekend, over the week, I'm still mulling, like, is this real? Like, is this actually true? And I would share it with Christians, and they'll be like, oh, no, they'll downplay it. God don't do that. God don't do it. Because in that time, in around the circles I was in, which wasn't big at the time, it was even rare to hear of a headache getting healed. So for someone to come off their deathbed, what was in those days or even today an extraordinary thing. And so, but that was my first thing, first miracle so that I'd seen. And so that happens. But over the weekend, I start crying out and I say, God, are you real? In the shower. And so, of course, that's enough for most people to say, no, he's real, man. So it was just too overwhelming. I had no grid for it and everything. And so I couldn't fathom it or understand it, or if I didn't know if I was seeing things, if it was a dream. So when I'm having a shower, it's just me home, and I just say, God, are you real? And I'm waiting for, I don't know, something like the roof to split open, thinking God's all the way up there, and an angel's going to come down, or trumpets will blow, or something like that, And it does. No. So I get disappointed because nothing happens.
Yeah.
So I cried a second time, and I'm like, God, are you real? Show me you're real. Please show me you're real. So I'm crying harder. Nothing is happening. And so my heart just drops, and I'm thinking maybe this was all a dream, maybe this was nothing, maybe it was just a coincidence, and all the logic, maybe it was just the machines, and so I started thinking all those thoughts. But there was that little bit in me that was thinking, nah, like I know what I saw. And so the third time, I just screamed at the top of my breath, or depth of my lungs, and everything in my heart, and I just went, God, if you are real, please show yourself. If you show yourself, I swear I'll follow you to the best of my ability for the rest of my days. And so I started crying. And again, third time I felt nothing for about what felt like 10, 20 seconds. Then I just start crying, and I look up at the roof again because I thought he was all the way up in the sky. And I just remember it vividly. I just remember going, God, you can't send me to hell. You cannot send me to hell. Funny thing is that he actually replied me, and he said, why? And in amongst him saying why, I said, because I gave you cannot look me in the eye on Judgment Day, or whatever you call that thing, and send me to hell, because I gave you the opportunity to show up and you didn't take it. And yeah, man, I'm in business with God, and so that's what I said to him. And after that, nothing happened for about 5 seconds. And I cried. And even though I went through a lot of abuse, bro, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I didn't sleep around. I was probably the most cleanest sinner that I knew of, and I only loved my music. And so I looked up at the sky again, or towards the ceiling, and I said, God, I'm going to become the most hardcore sinner that you've ever seen on this earth. And for real, bro, like I just made a rule of thumb in my heart, like, if you ain't real, what's the use? I'm going to go out there and sleep with all the chicks and drink away my life and do all this stuff and live up, live life to the full, as most people would say. And as soon as I did that, bro, I took one step, and for real, bro, my whole house just starts going, shaking violently. but it was like the best way I can explain it. This is open eye. This ain't no in the vision. This isn't a feeling. I wasn't out. It wasn't an out of body experience. My wall was literally like this, like everywhere I was looking. My paintings were still on the wall, violently shaking or painting. The ornaments were, rocking. The whole house was rocking, and was the best way I could put it was there's an old movie called The Matrix in the 2000s where the guy Neo or Keanu Reeves, where he finds out like he's the one, and all the walls just start going like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but mine were like going, whoa, 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 whoa. And as they started happening, this crazy amount of joy just bursted within me. Everything in me came alive, and I just remember screaming out, "He is real! He is real! He is real!" And so I run outside, and I've only got my towel around my waist. I'm looking at the neighbor, and I say to the neighbor, "Yo, did you feel that earthquake?" And he's doing his roof, and I know at the same time while I'm saying that if there was an earthquake, he would have fell off the roof.
Yeah.
So he's looking at me like he gave me the "you're on drugs" look. So, yeah. So he's giving me that look, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, Jesus is real!" And so I just closed the door. I go inside, and my mate was going to YWAM in Auckland and Mangere.
Bro, just get you to grab the mic. I'll get you to grab the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah.
About they're about 20 minutes out because the YWAM team was in our local church, and I phoned the guy who was heading the team, and I said, "Hey, I just had God show up in my house. I didn't know the Christian lingo, so I just said, God show up, and I know that I'm meant to go with you guys." And so he goes, "Oh, for real?" So I was like, "Yeah, just come and get me." And so I left everything behind, bro. Just jumped in there, and on my way up, while I'm in the car, God said, "You've got two things going for you." So he said, in one hand, you've got your music industry, you've got everything that you've wanted, and you will have the girls, you will have the cars, you will have the money, you will have the limelight, you will have all of that. On the other hand, you can choose me. And he didn't say what was what were the perks of choosing him. And like he didn't say, on my hand I'll give you $2 million. He didn't say nothing. He just said, or you can follow me. And I just made this decision in my heart, and I just said, well, God, I'll follow you. And so I text that contract dude, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm no longer doing music. And so it just came and it went, bro. And so 17-year-old declining $800,000 everything else that came with it, and pursued God ever since 2004.
Man.
Had my ups and downs, my real low downs, and
bro, I've got some people asking some questions. Like heaps of people are just tripping at your story, and some of them are like, "Man, you're an epic storyteller," and they're just freaking. You can check all the comments later, but one of them says, was she physically healed? Like her wounds were totally healed? That's your sister, I'm guessing?
Yeah,
totally
she's walking, got kids in Australia with her husband, partner, husband-to-be.
Yeah. Someone else is asking, how old are you, man? That's another question.
Oh. I'm 35. I'm 35.
35. Wow. Okay, so all of that happens, and then what happens in this next phase? What a story.
Yeah, so that's how I came to God. So I went into YWAM and did my year there, and I shared my testimony everywhere, and it just became at that time popular. At the same time, but even when I shared it in YWAM, it was pretty far-fetched.
And this is 2004.
Yeah, 2004. And so I heard other guys share crazy testimonies as well. But for some reason, in the group, some guys were like, "Whoa, that's amazing," but some were like, "Bro, don't share that, bro. Don't share that, bro. Don't share that, bro. I don't think that was real, bro. Have you got a scripture reference? All this stuff." And I'm thinking, what? Yeah, man, I had all that. It was a documentation. I don't know. She's alive. Ask her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I ran into all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And then, so what happened after that? Like, because you said you were, or I read on your Insta bio, you were a preacher. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that journey. Like, did you start ministering to people everywhere you went, or what was the deal? Like,
Oh no, so even now I'm just coming off sabbatical, just for those watching. But after that, I just had massive favor, bro.
mm,
And so doors were opening. I got back. God provided all throughout YWAM, and share my testimony. Was loving the lifestyle of being in YWAM, and I got back, and J Lucas, or J Luca at the time, or now, who does the Huia Come Home.
yeah,
He was CEO of YWAM New Zealand,
mm,
and so he would mentor me in those earlier days. And when I come back from Indonesia from our outreach, he goes, Rick, he says, I never say this stuff, but he said, I would love to tell you myself, put this out, put this before you. I would love to raise you up to be the next to run YWAM.
mm,
He said, if you just let me have 3-4 years with you, invest into your life and everything, you could oversee YWAM New Zealand. I can train you up. And so as soon as he said that, I felt God say, go home to Golden. And so I'm thinking, hey, what's in Golden?
yeah, yeah.
Golden. Shucks,
Yeah.
I'll join the gang, like, I don't know. And I just thought, God, like, I don't want to go back. And basically in my head, I was having this, just this banter with him, like, no. And then I just said to Jay, I feel God say for me to go back. And Jay was amazing. He just said, you know what, man, dang, I'm gutted. But he just said, but if you feel that God's told you to go back, who am I, to interfere with it? So I go back, and long story short is I only shared my testimony. Oh, they got me to preach once in Indonesia. It was my first and last. It was horrible, bro. It was horrible, man. Horrible. Yeah, I'm so lucky that you guys didn't get to see it. And so, again, because I'm unchurched, I don't know my Bible. I know nothing, bro. I share my testimony on one of them, just to warm things up. I didn't even know what preaching is when my leader asked me. And so while I'm sharing the testimony, this dude is laughing, but it's a mocking laugh.
Yeah.
So he's laughing at me. And so I don't know if it was deliverance at the time or anything. I can't remember. But he was laughing at me, bro. And just the coldo side of me, I said to my leader, while sharing the testimony, I said, Brandon, like, he's my, that's the name of my leader. Brandon, can you tell that guy to shut up while I'm talking? I'll punch him in the head, for real. That's what I said to him. I said it. And I said, he is peeing me off, man. He's laughing while I'm talking. And I'm having this I'm talking to my leader openly over the mic, saying this to him. And the team is just looking at me like, oh, what? What's he up to? But yeah, I just said to him, if you don't shut him up, I'm going to punch him. And he goes, okay. So he gets up, he rescues me, he sits me down, and he just takes over the mic. And that was the last time he let me preach. So, I come off that. I go back to Coldo, and I don't preach. I wanted to, but I still had to stutter. This is the phenomenal thing with guys who champion you. And so I get back to Calder and have amazing things happen. But in terms of preaching, I didn't want to do it. Because, again, I still had all that baggage and the confidence, lack of confidence and everything around there. And plus my experience in Indonesia. I didn't want people laughing at me. And so the pastor says to me, about a year or two in, because I said to God, I really love preaching. I'd really love to do it. So how do I become a great preacher? This is before the pastor invited me, and he said, clean the toilets. And so I'm thinking, hey, how do I become a great preacher cleaning the toilets? So again, I'm unchurched. I don't know this stuff. I don't know scripture. I don't know about serving or nothing. I just felt him say, clean the toilets. And so I was thinking, hey, I don't know how this works. And then saw later, to be the greatest, be the least, and all that. And so I just cleaned the toilets, bro, for what felt like 8 months. No one knew I was cleaning the church. I said, don't tell anyone that I'm doing this, other than if people rolled in and caught me, But I did it for 8 months, and then he offered me to preach. And he goes, man, I think you should preach, bro. So I'm thinking, oh, I haven't had a good experience preaching, you know. And so he just basically goes, you know, give it a go, and I'll rescue you if it goes horrible or wrong or whatever. And so I wrote out basically a testimony, 5 minutes worth. I get up and I just, you know, he does this phenomenal thing. Okay, church, let's give our hands for, you know, anointed preacher all the way from River Road in Colorado, Ricky Paul, come on. So, you know, everyone's standing up, yeah. I get there and I look, and there's this woman that I couldn't stand looking at, bro, because she always looked angry. And so she was the first person I saw, and I just honed in on her, and I just thought, oh no, I've done something wrong. And then I look at the other guy next to her, and he's asleep, and he's snoring, bro. And so, I'm thinking, oh, so I get put off, and I just cry. And I sit down. That was my first official preach. I didn't even introduce myself. He introduced me, and I sat down crying, and people laughed at me. There were people that laughed at me, and I heard them cry. And he comes up behind me, and he goes, yeah, come on, church. Come on, church. So everyone starts clapping now. And so he's like, you know what? We got nothing from him this time, but the next time he preach, we may even get a line. Come on, church. This is what it's all about. So I'm thinking, hey, and I'm thinking, no, I'm not even going to bother preaching again. So again, he convinces me, come on, bro, give it another go. And I'm like, no. Just says, give it another go. I give it another go. And for real, you know, preacher from Cut 5 River Road, Colorado, does all that stuff. I come out and, again, see that grumpy lady. The guy's sleeping again, bro. And so I get one line out. I remember getting one line out, and I just bawl my eyes, and I just cry. I sit down and say, I can't do it. And so he gets up and goes, yeah, come on, church. Yeah, he got one line out, but you know what? Next time we might get two. And I'm thinking, don't do this to me. I'm the wrong person. I shouldn't be preaching at all. It's not my gifting and all that stuff. Yeah. And he did that for, I couldn't stand it, to be honest, bro. But he did that for about what felt like 2 months.
Wow.
Just back to back, or every now and then he would skip a week. But he did that then, and he just kept championing me, And from there, I just gradually started gaining confidence in that. At the same time, I'm out in the streets and seeing healings and miracles. So I started off more testimonial type. So I just say, hey, I went out here and prayed for this person, they got healed. Pray for that person, they got healed. And my whole thing was just around healing. And that's how it just sort of started to gradually build. But I wouldn't have even left the ground if it wasn't for a champion, you know, to be championed by someone. And so the power of encouragement, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I did that, and then started getting invites locally with people and nationally. And God would always give me, like, whoever I looked up to, whoever I was inspired by, I'd get speaking slots with them. You know, I just had a Kim Walker Jesus culture phase, you know. And then she was with Josh and them, and then Josh was like, bro, I'd love for you to speak at it in Flame and stuff. So I'm thinking, whoa, I get to speak with Kim Walker and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I started, God just started opening doors, and and amongst that, I just started stepping out as much as I could, and started seeing God show up in the meetings, and before the meetings, after the meetings, on the way home on the meetings, you know. So I was a youth pastor at that time, maybe, or just going into it. Yeah.
Wow.
But, that's the journey of the preacher. Yeah.
Man, dude, your story's epic. Like, I think we've been going like 50 minutes. There's not been like a minute of not excitement. Like, this is legit. Man. So you know that revival hit, like we had Maggie on here. Maggie came on here a few episodes back, and it was crazy fire. She just kind of preached, and it wasn't really an interview or anything. And but it was like totally like on fire, man. And so she mentioned her view and her story of the revival, but maybe you can talk about your experience of that, of your side, how you were saying it.
Yeah, so in terms of the actual, there's just certain things that I won't say just to a public thing. Like they're just,
sure.
Yeah, but again, like I don't know what she shared, but the Father's heart was just phenomenal. And if anything, to be honest, when the revival came, I was on my beginning journey, on my downfall to being burnt out. And so, if anything, I didn't want it, and so, but it broke out anyway. And thank God we had a phenomenal team in place. But beforehand, and again, I've only shared this once publicly, and because at the time, like it's a long story. At the time, I still had no confidence. It's only just been recently that the Holy Spirit's been helping me regain confidence. Let's just say I'm on a journey of just total abandonment toward the people-pleasing spirit. So, I'll put it that way. And so, but I was always scared to share what God was showing me sometimes with some things, because I always felt like it wasn't appreciated sometimes around certain people. And all that to say is that before the revival broke out, I don't know the time frames, but let's say 2 months beforehand, a well-known speaker in the nation comes up to me and he goes, "Rick, bro," and in all fairness, like beforehand, I was learning to partner with healing angels. And so I've seen crazy healings break out with just partnering with healing angels in heaven and stuff. But before that, a little later after that, in a meeting, a guy comes up to me and goes, "Bro, there's a revival angel standing behind you." And so I couldn't see it and I couldn't feel it. I was more focused on the healing angel. And so he goes, "But bro, it's a Māori one." And so I'm trying not to laugh. It's me being honest. I'm trying not to laugh. And so I'm thinking, hey, whatever, man. Whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't say that to him. Actually, I just thought, okay. I'll just smile and thank you, bro. And put that in the closet of mystery, just hang that up in there. And I'm at the same time thinking, bro, like there's no Māori angels, bro. Like, come on, man. So anyway, so I just leave it at that. Put that on the clothes hanger, leave it. About another month later, another well-known female preacher comes in the church, and she just starts preaching. At the end of it, she lays hands on me, and she goes, "Bro, there's a revival angel standing behind you." And I'm thinking, "Oh, okay, cool. It's a Māori one." And I'm thinking, "Hey, for real?" So I'm thinking, I'm reminded of the other one. The previous word. So I'm thinking, I don't know where my grid fits with the Māori angel. I don't even know there's such a thing. It's not in the Bible and all that stuff. A Māori one. And so I'm like, okay, cool, God. If this is you, even though 2 times, it's been confirmed, but 3 times will make me, ponder about it a bit more. And so I just add that to the wardrobe of mysteries. And what felt like maybe a month before we go to this conference, another speaker comes up to me and just goes, "Bro, there's a revival angel standing behind you. And it's not behind anyone else." And again, this is why it gets tricky, why I don't want to watch a few reasons. I'm not saying that I'm the cause of the revival. That comes with honoring those who prayed for it generations before us, or people we're doing currently in the town, in the community. But it was just part of the favor. I didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
And so,
nor do I have control over it.
Oh, sorry. So again, they say it, bro, and it's a Māori angel, a Māori revival angel. And so again, I haven't heard. So I text a couple of people I knew. I said, "Bro, have you heard of a Māori revival angel?" And they're like, "Ha, nah, bro." Hey, so I text another couple of people, "Bro, have you heard of a Māori revival angel?" "Oh, I know of revival angels. I don't know if they're the Māori ones though." And so So I didn't know what to do with it. So I leave it. But at the same time, I'm thinking, man, this is fascinating. This is 3 times now. And again, I never told anyone. And I've never shared this publicly.
Yeah.
In this setting, I've shared it once publicly at a conference with Matt and them, Matt Lansdowne and them. But I always ask them, keep this in here. Because I don't want, more for the sake of, I don't want people going, oh, it was this guy. It wasn't a key dude. We all played a part. And so I just want to make sure that that's clear.
Yep.
So we go to this conference, with a youth conference. And while I'm up there, the pastor of the house, Pastor Martai Bennett, he calls me and goes, bro, there's words getting around that there's a revival's going to break out and stuff. And let's pray that it comes back to Koldo type of thing. So to get the youth there, bro, it was a mish. So I was tired. I was thinking, I just want to go back and sleep. It was a mish getting them there, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we take up a bus load and a couple of vans full of young people, about 45, 50 of them. And so get there. And to me, to be honest, bro, it feels like a normal conference. No angel showed up that I was aware of. None of our youth really had what felt like a massive encounter. Whoa, Jesus showed up, Felt literally like a normal conference. So we go back. And on the way back, again, bro, there was this Mexican woman in Houston, which is Maggie. And so I don't know if she shared about the angel on her side.
Yeah, she did, yeah.
The angel walked in. She saw it physically, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so she explained, again, because I never saw mine, and the guys were sort of like feelers. They couldn't explain, because I had asked them, what does it look like? They said, it's got the tamoko and everything all around it. But I asked, what type of head was it and all that stuff, but they couldn't. They just knew it was there. And so it comes back, and, I hear her testimony, and it's just one altar call takes place in the high school, and our young leaders at the time, they just go forward, just like a repentance prayer, rededication. And then all of a sudden, all these young people just give their hearts to Jesus. And in memory, that's in the school hall. And then it just starts to blow up. That's the best way I can put it. It just starts to blow up. And then, again, my timelines might be a bit thing, but, they start praying for everyone in the school. They start having prayer meetings with stacks of the young people. They start praying over all the teachers in the teachers' meetings before classes. They start praying for healing over the teachers. Did a day where they picked up rubbish around the community. So there was a lot of practical things within the community as well as at the school, and with the meetings going on. And and it was just phenomenal. And people were coming from overseas, from out of town, sleeping in their cars outside the venue. It just blew up, bro. It just blew up. Yeah, to what it is now.
Yeah.
But during that time, my end, I just ended up becoming a van driver, not just a van driver, but a van driver, and just making sure the kids got there, because our revival was different. Again, I don't know what she shared, but because it was amongst the young people and it went for so long, I think it went 128 nights or something. After a while, the parents are like, where are you going every night? And what the F is a revival? When they're asking, Mum, can I go to the revival? They have no idea what that is, And so it got a little tricky. I just had to make sure that the parents were getting as much info as possible. If there was an issue with a parent, where's my kid, that I was able to go there and talk to them when picking them up, ensuring that they'll be dropped off by a certain time so it doesn't affect their schooling, and just doing little bits of practical things.
Yeah.
But our leaders and the pastor at the time and the team were doing, it was just a big family thing, right down to the guys on the door every night, in the cold, in the rain.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was such a blessing to see the father heart of God. Yeah, just pour out.
And so you had meetings every night for 120 days, 120 something days.
So how did it go? Sharks. So I think it did go every night, and then we slowly, because I think from memory, either we're getting tired or we were getting tired and needed to be filled on a Sunday. So I think they started going from like a Monday to a Friday halfway through, just to give us some sort of breathing space, to self-care of some sort. But yeah, then we started having issues with the neighbor and the noise, because you got all these kids, you got hundreds of kids, doing the haka, loud as, bro. And like, it was just phenomenal, bro.
Wow.
To be part of it all. Yeah. Like,
wow.
I wish it was documented a lot more. But to be honest, bro, we didn't know what it was. Like, it was other people go, bro, this is a revival. This is a revival. It was other people noting it. We didn't. We just saw like an outpouring for sure. But other people were like, no, this is revival, man.
Wow.
My favorite story, I don't know how much time you got left, but
no, all good, man. We're good.
My favorite story, bro, was this elderly guy comes up, this Pakia European guy comes up and he walks in and he goes, is this the revival? And we're like, oh, yeah. And he looks around late 80s type of a thing. And he's fully tuxed out, bro, like tuxedo, like he's at a wedding. And so I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if he's meant to be here, And it's going to be loud, but it seems it's going to be very loud because of all the young people. So I'm wondering, if he's going to walk out because it's too loud and he can't stand it, all that stuff. And so we have a night and he's in tears. And I go to talk to him first before I start dropping all the kids off. And I said to him, how did you enjoy that? And he goes, young man, he basically says, I just say, did you enjoy it? He's like, yep. And he goes, and then I say, I'll see you around, maybe see you tomorrow's meeting. And he goes, young man, before you go, I just want you to know you probably won't see me again. And I'm like, oh, what happened? Well, what's going on? And he said, I asked the Lord, he basically said, I asked the Lord to sustain my life that I may see a revival before I pass on. And so he said, I basically come dressed for the occasion.
Wow.
So he came knowing that he could die at any second.
Yeah.
Anytime soon. So he just said, this is why. So he said to me, this is why I'm dressed like this. I'm so honored to be here. I thank God that I got to see an authentic revival amongst the Māori people of some sort. And yeah, so that just teared me up. I just gave him a hug and I just say, bless you. And everything in me was like, oh man, I wish someone else could drive the van because I wanted to talk to him. But I had to take off. And it was the first and last time I saw him.
Wow.
So I didn't know if he was a legit person, if it was an angel in disguise of a person. I don't know. But it was the most heartfelt thing that I felt. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so crazy. So what year was this?
That was 2014. Yeah.
5 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, what a journey.
Yeah, bro.
We got time, man, if you want to say something.
Yeah, like you just ask away, bro.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go into subjects you don't want to talk about, but maybe you can talk about some of the not so easy parts, like, because someone might hear you and do you know what I mean? Like, and that's awesome. And then maybe there's some other parts that you feel you want to share too that might not be that flashy, If there is.
I again, like this is probably the first time I've really shared this on the public, and I want to be choosy with certain things because I want to talk about my downfall, bro. And so during not so long after the revival, like I said, I was going into burnout, and so was it just after them? So I start going into burnout. I'm tired. I'm still doing life, and I'm doing, what I felt was a real busy schedule. And yeah, I just start pummeling. And I felt God say to me, because I was the youth pastor at the time, stop doing youth.
Mm.
And actually, because I was dating an amazing woman at the time. Well, she still is amazing, but at that time I was dating her. And I felt God say, invest time into her and put the ministry down fully.
Mm.
And I had no issue with that. And so I just, I shared that with the leadership at the time. And again, I'm choosy with what I did, but basically I didn't stand firm on what God told me to leave. And because of my people-pleasing spirit, and because I was so loyal as well, like I had a mixture of loyal and to please people. And if someone said, oh, no, Rick, blah, 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 or that's not good or anything, then I'll do everything to try and make it right. And I just had lack of boundaries, but lack of self-care. Self-care, man. Shucks, if you're a pastor out there, or any person, and you don't know self-care, I urge you, self-care. That's where you see a lot of mighty men and women fall, whether it be Evan Roberts, just because of lack of sleep. Lack of sleep. It wasn't the fact that the devil would show up like he did with Smith Wigglesworth or nothing. His revival and him as a person got smashed just because of lack of sleep.
That's good advice, right?
And so just self-care, man. It's a commandment. You're commanded to do it. And, love others. First, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, your soul, your body, and everything. And also love others. And with that equal and exact amount of love you give towards others, turn that 180 towards yourself and apply that to self as well. And so I was good at loving God and loving others, but I was terrible at loving myself, bro. And so, again, even though I felt God say, invest time into your woman that you're dating at that time and take a break. But to me, taking a break was like defeat, so my pride got in the way. But at the same time, my identity easily got wrapped in that too, partly got wrapped in that amongst with people pleasing and everything else. And so basically I stay put and everything just starts, nothing starts falling. I start carrying on, but it is hard yakka, bro. I just started getting tired faster, tired quicker. By then I've been ordained to carry the church, to do the church, to pastor the church, as well as youth pastor and everything else. And I just take a pummel, bro. I just fall on my face, and I fall on my face massively, horribly, morally, like just everything that I never ever thought I would do, I ended up doing. And so whether it be sex, whether it was drugs, drinking, like just stuff that, again, like I wasn't even brought up, and I'd never even had it as a young person. And so I just got massively caught up and burnt out and everything, the pressure of stuff. But at the same time, just because I was outside of my call, God said basically sabbatical this year. I didn't listen, and bro, I took the humble fall, man, and it wasn't good at all. And my actions had hurt people unintentionally. Like, I believe I have a great heart, a good heart, and I don't wish bad or anything on anyone. But that's just what you do. You start, again, as they say, like I just started basically destroying my friendships, relationships, and just had the worst of me, bro, for a couple months. And amongst that, what really munted me, bro, was, again, like I can share testimonies of healings, miracles, tumors dissolving, people getting out of wheelchairs and all that stuff. Even in my own hometown, like I saw crazy things happening in Calder, which is a cool story. But I got bored of Christianity amongst it. So all that on top of that, I literally got bored of Christianity. And because I ran out of dreams, bro. I literally ran out of dreams, but at the same time, I wasn't fulfilling my own dream as well. But and had an identity crisis amongst it. But I just fell on my face, and God told me and made me, showed me, hold myself accountable. So I held myself accountable. It was just unfortunate that I had to rest because of my decisions as well. And so, yeah, like my heart is just for people. But now the Lord has taught me, and still on the journey of learning boundaries and my love for myself, like through my darkest moment where we all encounter the Lord, I definitely had massive encounters with Jesus in the past year or so, but I had an encounter with myself. Like Jesus let me encounter Ricky Paul. Like I had a full-blown encounter with myself, and I went from, even if you asked me in my prime, what I called my prime before my fall, if you had said, Rick, what's 3 things you love about yourself? I would change the subject. I may come up with one and say I'm cool, but I didn't believe it at all. And so all of that to say is that the Holy Spirit just said to me one time. I was in church with an amazing family that I'm currently with that just prayed over me, walked with me hand in hand alongside other brothers in the faith like Benji, Matt Lansdowne, just really good support around me, just to help me get back on my feet and take it easy. But the Holy Spirit said to me, write down 3 things that you love about yourself. So I struggled with it. So I'm in a church service, and so I said, Lord, then can you again show me who I am in your eyes? And so he just showed me basically a mirror where I got to see me from his eyes. And bro, I started writing about the guy that I saw, and so I came, and within, for real, about half an hour whilst the woman was preaching, I am handsome, I'm phenomenal, I'm powerful, I'm strong. Bro, and for real, like within half an hour, I had 131 things that I loved about me.
Wow.
And I wholeheartedly believe them.
Wow.
Yeah. And from there, my journey changed massively, right down to eating well. Like my whole life was out of balance, to be honest. Emotionally, physically, I was just eating late at night, like just the small things, the great things. But yeah, like I had an encounter with Ricky Paul, bro. so my whole journey is just learning to love me, because if you do fully, if you're able to grasp in any way how valuable you are, then you'll know and understand the level of the cost he paid for you. And so, like, he didn't die for trash, So he died for you, who, and you're valuable. And so I had to see that value for me to even have a revelation of what he actually died for. And so, for my worth. And so, which I can preach on that and give 20 sessions on that now. But, like, all I have to say is that is my journey coming out of the darkness, out of my darkest moments. I feel stronger, but at the same time, I'm just enjoying life. Enjoying studying, as I mentioned to you, learning Te Reo Māori in order for the doors that the Lord is opening. So, again, I don't know if I'm just talking anything and everything, but he just showed me that I'll minister amongst the Māori people. And so, and out of that, which is a cool story, I had an American prophet confirm it exactly after he told me he'll do it. And what that looks like, I just don't want to prematurely put it out there at this stage. But I just said, well, God, out of faith, I'll learn the language. And yes, I've just been, that's my priority. And because I said, God, now that I'm getting back on my feet, whatever that looks like, whatever you have for me, instead of me doing 8 to 10 things at once, which I'm good at, I basically had this small, easy, simple revelation that you can do things you're good at and still miss what you're born for, bro. And so but that's what favor does. That's the misleading thing, if there ever is such a thing about favor, is if I go out and be the rubbish man tomorrow, I'm going to be one of the best rubbish mans Kapiti Coast has ever seen. So it doesn't matter, whatever, like Joseph, whatever you put your hand to, you're going to prosper. And so I said, God, I don't want to be caught up in that. I need to know now what is, I need you to start defining and really begin to hone in on what what am I born for?
Mm.
Like, I could be good at a million things, but I don't want to miss what I'm born for. So let's just cut to the chase. And now that I'm in a place where I'm in new beginnings, restarting, rebuilding, let's do this and be intentional with what you're born, what I'm created for. And so, yeah, amongst all the mess, amongst every other things, and that comes with that, it also has made everything clear. You know, like any storm, you know, trees are going to be ripped out, houses are going to be torn down. You get to start again from scratch, but you also get to see the beauty of things, you know, and everything else in clarity just as much as a mess. And so for me, I just came through a massive revelation, as I always say, and Matt repeats, Jesus isn't the light at the end of the tunnel, he's the light with you in the tunnel, man.
Yeah.
And so,
Legit.
yeah. And so
Wow.
I think I'm just mumbling all over the place now. Verbally
Nah, bro,
processing.
this is legit, because Fuse Life, I began this because it's all about what you were saying about the assignment, God-given assignment. Like, even over here, I've got this thing that says born for more, because that's something that I feel in my heart. Like what you're talking about there, we are all designed for something specific, you know, we came wired with it, and no one can do it like we can do it. And so I love what you're saying. I have a bunch of people asking questions. Someone is asking, are you a prophet? Because you did a seminar or something?
This week it's tricky. Nor do I proclaim myself to be a prophet.
Yeah.
I've spoken at prophetic conferences, but I've always, and I don't put it as a cheesy thing. That's where my heart is, the prophetic for sure. But I still have so much to learn. Like I've had prophecies come, you know, pull through, have fruit on it, and all that stuff. But all that to say is, I prefer to take the son. I know it might sound cheesy, but it's true. Like I take the approach of a son, because a son can do all things. And so, but that's how I've always looked at it with the gifts as well. It's been portrayed back in the days like you can divide the Holy Spirit, you know, but it is one Spirit, all gifts.
Totally.
So it's
I
not
agree,
like,
man.
okay, he's just healing.
Yeah.
You know? So I just always personally, before God said, if I'm in a place where a person needs a prophetic word, use me. If I'm in a place where someone needs an interpretation of a dream, use me. If I'm in a place where interpretation of tongues or there's a healing needed, use me. And like I've even tried not to box myself. But the fruit will show for itself if that's the best way. But I prefer to aim to be a son, and whatever's needed at the time, that hopefully I'm prepared, you know, type of thing. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah,
man,
I did speak at with Bethel.
Yeah.
At the prophetic conference.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you, man. Like, and that's my total feeling too. Like, the Bible says that Holy Spirit gives as He wills, and I think many times people have taken that as He gives me a gift and gives Bob another gift, gives Jack another gift. But I feel like He gives to the person that needs as He wills, because you will be a conduit for it all as a son. Huh?
Yeah, and part of that translation is also as He wills. He's talking to you as you will. So it's saying even though it is talking about the Holy Spirit, whatever's needed at the time, Paul's actually talking about that in the context of as you desire.
Wow.
So if you only desire one gift, you're going to get one gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you desire all things, like Paul said, desire everything, but especially that you may prophesy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he didn't say desire one thing, no, and you're going to have a tough time picking whatever one you want. He's saying, you know, desire everything, but above all, have prophecy, and has his thing on that. But in terms of that, in the context of that, he's actually saying, as you will, you the person. He's talking to them, the church.
Wow.
Yeah, not so much the Holy Spirit, you know, just picking out whatever gift He feels like He wants to give you. Yeah.
Wow, we rightly title this Manifesting Sonship. Man, that's awesome. everybody asks, what are you doing now? What do you do now?
So what am I doing now? So I'm just, for real, like just taking my time, just growing slowly, going low and slow. Again, I've never been one. My heart's never desired the pulpit. To me, it's not even about position, rank, or me trying to build myself up to create a ministry of some sort. Like out of my last season, I totally destroyed my reputation. And so, but within that, I found out how gracious he really is, how phenomenal I am. But also, like I said, in my eyes, because of my downfall, like my reputation got slammed at my own cost. And so, but because of that, now that my reputation is fully done, dead, and out the way, I can only make his look good. So that's the pro of that. It's just definitely not the journey that I intended on going down. But I'm doing nothing. I'm just sabbatical until the end of this year, which is my plans. I'm doing the odd speaking engagement as the Lord puts on my heart. Like I said, I just finished one with Matt Lansdowne, but I've had quite a few come my way, but I'm declining a lot of them just until I feel out of my season of re-strengthening. This time means so much to me that I really invest into me, and so I don't want to be jumping the fence and quickly going out there. Yeah, I'll take up every preaching. Now, like I feel that I need to grow again. And grow slow. So I don't know if that answers that person, but yeah, I'm just doing that, enjoying myself, selling records online, online distribution of vinyl records, old school 12-inch. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you always with Dujon? Are you mates with him?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, some just selling records, making music, enjoying life, eating well, eating horribly, going for walks, going for a drive, and actually, because I never made time for myself. Like I gave all my time to everyone else, and I don't regret that at all. But like now, I'm just now some of my goals have changed to I want to skydive, and I want to do some physical things, and so all that whānau to just say I'm just self-caring and learning the art of that, because that is important for me in terms of whatever God has ahead. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Are you still doing your beats, or you're not doing any beats at the moment?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So like, I don't know if you saw, but I did which is this one here, actually. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, you gotta put a bit lower. Yeah, a bit lower.
Oh.
Maybe a bit zoomed out. Yeah, there you go. Yep, we can see it.
Yeah, so I just finished producing that album, front to back, top to bottom, and so that was a cool thing. So again, coming out of my season, lost all my confidence and I was suicidal, everything. But I just had people reaching out to me, even in terms of music, and just saying, "Bro, we want you to do this album and everything." And they were just great confidence boosters. So I made that album about 2 months ago, which is a rap album, New Zealand rapper.
Yeah.
And it's it did amazing. It went #1 rap album Australia, #1 rap album New Zealand.
Wow.
#1 pop album in New Zealand. The crazy thing is, it's not even a pop album, and it crossed genres. He's Samoan. He got nominated a Maori award. So like, it's, even culturally, it's blowing down barriers, and so that's all that one. But again, like I've done stuff for international artists recently as well, which is doing pretty good.
That's epic, man.
Yeah, and all of that, to be honest, bro, like just before you may ask another question, whatever, is this is part of my self-care. So for those who don't know, is that when and it's hard not to, because if you've got a guy like Snoop Dogg, which I did a beat for Snoop. But if you've got, yeah. So if you've got someone like Snoop Dogg asking you for a beat, to be honest, most guys will just go, here, take it for free. Don't even bother paying. That's sort of like in Dan Carter in his prime, like if he showed up to an All Blacks game and he forgot his boots and asked the dude on the sideline, hey, can I use your boots? That young kid's going to go, yeah, but keep them. Don't even bother giving them back. It's just amazing that you would ask. And so, big guys will just ask me for, well-known artists will ask me for beats. Even Kiwis would ask me for beats, and I would give them. But at that time, I was making good money in the job that I was doing as well. And so I wouldn't take the money, but most of it was because I didn't think I was worth it. And I didn't know how to price my product as well. And I felt awkward to say, hey, can you give me $100? When they would make tons of money. So all that to say, coming out of this, I said to God, for my future, I would love to leave a generational inheritance for my kids. I don't have kids currently, but I just said I want to set myself up and set my kids up now, God. So, I said to him, the next time you start opening doors, I'm going to put my price on it. I'm going to say, give me 50% of the publishing, of the royalties, and I'm going to create an inheritance, but also a side stream of income for me, so that if whatever he's called me to, that I'm, I don't have to do a 9 to 5.
Come on, man.
So it's all part of. This is all just. I put that in there because it not only went number one or anything, but it's a reminder for me. I framed it to remind me, it's okay to eat off your fruit, man. It's all just a journey of self-worth and all that.
Wow. There's just people just saying awesome things to you and about you. I hope you get to read the comments later, Ricky. I think you'll love it. These guys. There's a guy on here, Lionel, saying that. Do you know Lionel Singer? And he says, I am in the exact season as you to a T. And he's like, send me a link to your beats. I'm a singer-songwriter. I could potentially collaborate. So I've got your website on here in the description, so you can contact you there, right?
Yeah, so the website is slowly being developed. Because I'm doing my album, which I'm really excited for my one, bro.
Yeah.
So thanks, Lionel. Thanks for the shout-out. 5K for one, bro. Nah, this 5 grand for a beat, bro. Nah. So if you can, I don't know, on Facebook, PM me, Lionel. That'll be cool. If not, I'll jump on the post after this to have a look and PM you.
Yeah, and you can find him on Insta. I've put your Insta handle on the caption, so they can find you on Insta, right?
Yeah. So for the music. For clarity, family, I don't make music for Hillsongs and stuff, So, if you hear some of the stuff I've made, you're gonna hear mother effer, gunshots, sex. You're gonna hear about. It's a commercial thing, so it does two things for me. I just want to quickly. I don't know how much time you got.
All right, all good.
So that's just. So you guys are aware, that's. I know that Matt talked about creativity as well, but which was my subject up in the church that he spoke at. So, I'm just learning to. I've always done it actually. Basically, that's another area that I'm able of influence to be able to minister to people. So. I've been making my album, and my album has some, in the rap world, some really amazing rappers on it that people would dream to have on the album. So just out of favor, I've got people lined up on my album, and my album is called Religion Kills. And
legit.
Yeah, it's called Religion Kills. And so it has a picture with a crazy, daunting red background, has Jesus about to land or descend from heaven, but it has a boy with a gun that's about to shoot him, and he's faceless, and so that's cover one, and that one's called Religion Kills. And the whole point of that, again, is to not just create controversy in the realm of hip hop that I love, and all that stuff, and that I'm called to outreach or minister to. But even now, like I've been able to preach the gospel through the album cover. But if a person in a church saw it, they'll be like, "Why the heck's he got a gun and point at Jesus?" Like all this. But the cover is actually phenomenal. Like if I explain what it means, you'll be like, "Whoa, that's powerful." And so all that basically comes down to some of them are aware that I'm a pastor of some sort, or a leader, or a lover of God, or they just ask blatantly, like, "Why is this kid killing Jesus?" So even your gangster rappers in USA ask me, why do you got that as your cover? And then I explain the album's called Religion Kills, which again they're like, "What? That's that's disrespectful. I was brought up in a religious family," whatever they call it. And then I can explain from that the difference between religion and relationship. And straight away I get straight into it, and they're like, "Whoa, that is phenomenal, bro. Like I didn't know there was such a thing." And so it's all of that, but at the same time, the reason why I wish I could send it through, or that you guys could see it, but the reason why the boy is faceless and holding the gun towards Jesus is because all of us we can all put our face on that, And so on religion, and we all played a part of killing Jesus. And it's a 3-piece album. So that one will have him killing him. The second cover, and the artist is quite a well-known artist too. The second cover has him holding a gun and Jesus is already dead on the cross. And the third album cover has Jesus and a boy with a gun is bowing down, and Jesus has got his arm reached out of him. And there's so many things in it. Like I believe, again, a lot of people are believing that the revival will come from new people coming into God, which totally happens and has happened in the past. But I also believe that those who are in religious churches are going to come alive. And we always think revival's outside the church and everyone's coming in from our church, or broke out in the middle of the streets or whatever. But religion being revived, I think will be the greatest revival. Like when a believer of some sort, whether they're again Methodist or anything, even in our Pentecostal churches we can be religious. Stand up and clap. Hey, 3 times praise, 3 times worship. But even we can have our own little things go wrong, and going on for us. And so all that to say is that it's a prophetic thing. And so it'll come with, again, I'm putting it out there, like Nike shoes. I've got some limited edition Nike shoes that come with it. Will be on vinyl and all that stuff. It'll come with Champion hoodies, and so it's a full package thing, but it's mainly to reach those, in the hoods and the ghettos and stuff. So it's not a Jesus culture album, So all that to say, sorry, family, is that if you hear some of my music, I wish you guys were there at the prophetic conference where I played what I do with my beats, is that I declare in tongues under every one of my beats. So I have no control to a certain extent on whatever the artist puts on. They could say, F-U-C-K, all of y'all, like whatever. And, I have people go, "Why do you support that type of music?" But I'm not. And so I have no control over whatever they put on it. But they have no control what I put under it, what the foundations are as well. And so if you were there in the session, I showed, which again, I don't even show people publicly, and even my mates didn't even know I did it, is that I have like a 2-minute thing of me just going shaka bucka in tongues, just hiaranda shaka yara mama, and I turn it down quietly in amongst my beats. So whenever guys ask for the beat, I send it to them, and without them even knowing, there's tongues is the foundation of my beats. And like it's phenomenal. Like I do a lot of cool things, or I partner with God to do a lot of cool things in the industry that I'm in. And so I just love music and all this stuff. I'm not really doing a good job. Telling you about it, but it's really cool. I'm
No,
super
man, it
excited.
sounds epic, and it totally like connects with my heart. Like I really love what you're saying. And most of our audience would be like, yeah, that's what we're about, you know. So
Mm.
that's epic.
Yeah.
We've been going an hour and a half or more,
Oh, yeah,
and
sorry, bro. Sorry, guys.
no, man, don't be sorry. This was epic. I was gonna say we need an episode 2 at some point. If when you have time, man, would you come back?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Maybe we can explore some subjects like creativity and like what you're talking about here, where you're going into the world and just being a son, and
Yeah,
that's the most powerful thing we could ever do.
yeah, totally. And like I said, like I'm only slowly getting back out there. More of it is around just creating that side stream of income for me, making music, just enjoying the creative side, walking around doing nothing. So I'm not as intense as I was, praying for every person on the streets, like I used to. But I'm still doing some. I'm just taking my time. So like even last Saturday, I took those who are interested in the church that I'm attending and receiving it and being rebuilt. And they asked, I asked them if they want to learn how to pray for people on the streets and get words of knowledge. And yeah, they were excited. Sorry, guys. Took them out. And yeah, so I'm still empowering people, encouraging people where I can, but I'm just at the same time just still enjoying life and not making ministry the main thing at this stage.
Yeah. Bro, that's legit. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, everyone enjoyed this. We've had at least 12 to 14 at the lowest be here the whole time. So that's pretty epic for people to be here for an hour and 40 minutes straight.
Oh, yeah. And I appreciate it, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. Some of them fell asleep at the computer. might be logged in still.
Yeah. Man, yes, this was epic. Hey, guys, Ricky said yes, so we're going to try and do an episode 2 and maybe a 3 at some point. I don't know. But
yeah, for sure.
I love what's happening here. I love what's happening with, I guess, our generation as well, where we're wanting to integrate everything. And I'm excited, man. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you guys for staying on. And thank you, Ricky.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for sharing your heart, bro, and being vulnerable and going there, Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I'd love to, family, share my heart even in greater details, just a matter of time, really. Yeah.
Epic, man. Awesome.
So heart on your sleeve, man.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna land this one here. So all of you guys, thank you so much for coming on. We've got a couple more episodes in the next 4 or 5 days, so hang out for that. It's gonna be awesome. Ricky, the last thing we do before anyone leaves is we ask them for a wisdom bomb or a one-liner or a quote, something that you want to leave us with.
Shucks, one-liner. You should have prepared me for this, man. Okay,
you dropped so many through the whole night.
Shucks, one-liner.
Something that's important for you in this season.
Okay, family. Now this is a 5-minute one-liner. But just really quickly, one thing that's important for me in this season, or that applies for me, is that just a couple of weeks ago, I was just reading the son of the prodigal son, and everyone usually ministers, or they give a lot of attention to the son that ran away, and did his thing, and life got the best of him. And also they talk about a lot about the father, which is what it's all about, which is the father. But the thing that the Lord had told me, or revealed to me, or showed me, or really highlighted, was the son that stayed home. And if I was, in general, if your brother was lost, like the son that lived with the father and that remained behind would have seen how much the father's heart was towards the brother that was lost. Watching you imagine being the brother at home, watching your dad go out there all day, every day, waiting for your other brother to come home, but the brother stayed home. He did nothing. And all that to say is that I feel really stirred for me that the Lord said to me, be that brother. How come the brother didn't even run out to go greet his bro with the dad?
Mm.
And within that same, within around the same stories, Jesus talks about, the lambs, the 99 sheep that follow the shepherd, which is phenomenal. And again, it's all about the shepherd. But the reason why the shepherd had to go back and get the sheep was because the 99 didn't.
Mm.
And so, and he's not talking about sheep, he's talking about people, about us, the church. And so he's really talking about, be the brother or one of the sheep that actually go out and get your other brother or sister. And so just encourage you, family, to, be that brother or be that sister that actually goes out with the dad and for the dad to go get your brothers and sisters. And I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's just where I'm at. So I'm just really digesting that and just saying to God, hey, I want to be that brother that goes out and compels people back towards your heart or demonstrates your heart and everything. So I don't want his story. I don't want to be the son known as the son that stayed home, in the four walls, or like that son would have had to go out into the marketplace, so, or go out into the pig's pen, wherever the bro was. And so, church, don't be the bro or sister, that big sister or big bro that stays home.
Yeah. Be the brother like the father. Boom.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks, bro. That was awesome. Well, there you go, guys. We're going to wrap it here. We're going to land. Have an awesome evening or morning, afternoon, wherever you're at, and we'll be back with more. So, Ricky, you stay with me, but everyone else, we're staying by to you. Catch you later, guys.
Faith and patience. Faith and patience. Patience means allow it to happen. Stay the same. Stay persistent. Keep going. Faith, know that it can happen at any moment. Get excited because it can happen at any moment. You were so close. Don't quit now. Keep pushing. You got this.